Hello and welcome to Microsoft Hates Greg. My name is Greg Deckler, and today we're going to be taking a look at another example from Nick Deborah's More Practical Charts regarding from Chapter 3, Cyclical Time Series Data. In this chapter, he's got this really cool visual where he's got some time series data, and he wants to highlight that the lowest values always occur on the weekends, right? So he's got these vertical stripes going through there on the weekend days, and they highlight that the fact that on the weekends, the values that we're measuring are always lower, or the lowest values that are out there are consistently lower, right? So set about on how to do this. So the first attempt I had was I thought maybe I could use the analytics pane. Um, that's really not the way to go about this, from what I can tell. So you can do like x-axis constant lines. I've got two of them here. I've got one that's on 1/6/2024 and another one that is on 1/7/2024. So I really couldn't figure out how to use the conditional formatting to format every weekend. I really don't think that that's going to work because I don't know how that would work exactly, but I might do some more experimenting around it, but I couldn't really figure out how to do it other than create an x-axis constant line for every date that I would want in here. So you do have to do a little bit of kind of settings as far as the width goes. You have to kind of adjust the width so that these two lines kind of merge together. By default, there's some separation between them. So this one's on the Saturday 1/6, and this was on the Sunday 1/7. But even if I could get it to work with somehow conditional formatting and that sort of thing, it's got these little rounded bumps here at the end, and there's no real way to control the ends of the lines with the analytics pane. So I think this is kind of a lost cause. So then I decided, hey, what I'll do is I'll do it with a 100% stacked column chart. I could get the lines in there. And you can see what I did was I created this measure. And the measure is this. So if max weekday less than 6 blank, otherwise 1, right? And so that gives me a 100% stacked line chart. That all looks good to me. Pretty happy with that. So all I have to do then is create a 100% stacked column chart and line chart, right? Well, I don't really have that option. I have a line and stacked column chart, and I have a line and clustered column chart. I don't have a line and stacked 100% stacked column chart. But that's okay. I was able to get this done using, in this case, a clustered column chart. So let's go ahead and start this from scratch. There's a few tricks to this. It's not overly burdensome, but of course, there's some playing around and monkeying around with Power BI to get this to work properly. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with our line and clustered column chart. This maximum. We will get the date in our x-axis. We will get our value in our line y-axis, and then we're going to put our measure in our column y-axis. And so you can see we're starting to get pretty close already. First problem that we notice is that this axis line, our column one is by default is on the left, and our line is on the right. And we really don't want that. We don't want to show this axis at all for the column, but we do want to show the line, and we want it to be on the left. So the trick to that is it's kind of a little bit of a hidden setting, but you can actually go in here to the y-axis, and I just found this. Values. There it is. So it's under y-axis, under values. I don't know why exactly, but there is the hidden switch axis position. So I can flick that, and now I've got my line axis on the left and my column axis on the right. I'm not sure why that's not at I guess maybe I would think it would be like at this level, but there's nothing this level. So I guess they have to have it under card visual. So they hid it under values to be able to switch those axis positions. Took me a bit to find it. Let's put it that way. Okay, so once you have that done, then what you can do is then you can switch the values off for the y-axis. Now, you have to do it in that order, right? Because if you switch values off, then you lose the ability to control this. So you have to have this on, switch this to on, and then switch this to off. Otherwise, you can't swap the axis. Well, caveat there. All right, so now what we can do is with columns, I can set this to some color like this. I can set the transparency to about 50%, right? And then I need to control the layout of this. And so you have your space between categories, you shrink that down to 0, and now they all merge up correctly. I guess the last thing that we're going to want to do is we're going to want to set the minimum for the secondary y-axis to 0. And so there you have it. I mean, we want to turn off a few other things like, again, this is always kind of annoying, right? I want to turn the title off there, get rid of that. This looks pretty good. We'll turn off the legend, really. Although, we could mess around with the legend and maybe, I don't know, have something like, put weekends in there or something like that. I don't know. That this really means weekends, or I could switch the name of the measure to be weekends. Probably just turn the legend off and could do with what I, probably denote it a different way. But that, in a nutshell, is how you can recreate that visual from Nick Deborah's More Practical Charts, the Chapter 3 cyclical time series data. I think it's pretty cool. It's a pretty good way to highlight that pattern of the weekends being the lowest, right? So thought I'd share with everybody. That's all I have for this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.